Hey you guys, welcome back. This week I've got 3 delicious crockpot meals ready to go for this week. Last week's meals were so delicious. I've got to post that video later, which would be last week's video when you're watching this. They were so delicious. But we've got some crockpot recipes that we're going to be making this week, and we're going to start off with some beef and broccoli. All in the crockpot. No other dishes except for the rice that we're going to make later. That will be done in the Instant Pot. But we're going to start out with this week. I've got some oil here. I'm going to go ahead and spray my crock pot. You don't have to do this. You can use a crock pot liner or just leave it as is. So to this, I'm going to start adding my ingredients. I've got some beef broth here. I'm going to go ahead and add that in there, as well as some soy sauce, garlic, brown sugar, plop, and we're going to add in some sesame oil. I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon. You don't want to add too much. This is just enough to give it a little flavor because sesame oil is quite strong. So I'm going to add that right in there. And I'm also going to add some pepper. Now I'm not going to add any more salt because the soy sauce is quite salty. Now you can substitute with amino acids or low sodium soy sauce, whatever you like. But I am going to add in some pepper. And to this, I've just got some meat here. This is a beef roast that I just cut into slices. And I'm just going to add all of this right in here. And I'm going to give this a nice little stir. Make sure everything is nice and coated. Okay, that is done. This smells good already. I love beef and broccoli. We make it all the time. I think it's one of our favorite Asian meals. Besides sushi. We love sushi, but I think this is a close second. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on, and I'm going to cook this for about 2.5 to 3 hours on high, but you can do this on low for about 4 to 5 hours, depending on how much time you have. You do what works best for you, but I'm going to cook this on high for 2.5 to 3 hours, and then I'm going to come in and check it. I don't want the meat to be pull apart tender. I want it to be tender but done. And then we'll come in and add some more ingredients. So I'll see you then. Alright y'all, this has been cooking for about 2.5 hours. We've still got another hour to go. I went ahead and took some of the liquid out, and I just got it here in this cup, and I just let it cool. We're going to go ahead and add in 1/4 cup of cornstarch to this liquid. And we are going to give this a nice little stir. Make sure it's all combined. All right. And we are just going to add this in with our meat mixture. And give this a nice little stir, and this is going to thicken it up. Y'all, this smells so good. This house has been smelling good for 3 hours. I've got some broccoli here, and it's still frozen, but that's okay, it'll thaw. It's about 14 ounces, and I'm just going to mix this up, make sure that broccoli is nice and coated in that sauce. That's about good. We'll give it another stir when it gets done. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lid back on this, and we're going to let this cook for about 30 minutes to an hour. Depends, just until the broccoli is kind of thawed and like warmed through and the meat is cooked through. And this will be ready to go. I've got my rice going in the Instant Pot here. It's 30 minutes left on this, so that will be ready to go. This should be done right about the same time. All right, you guys, this is done. I'm just going to give this a little stir. Make sure that broccoli is all nice and coated in that delicious smelling sauce. And I'm going to cut this down on keep warm. Put the lid back on. And I'm going to fluff up my rice. It is done, ready to go, and then I'll show you my plate. All right, you guys, here is my plate. This was so good. Very easy to make. It had the house smelling absolutely delicious while it was cooking. The meat was so tender. The sauce was so good. This I highly recommend you try. I will leave all of the links to all of these recipes down in the description box below for you guys. Click those links and check those out. But this was 10 out of 10. All right, you guys, we are going to move along to the next one. I thought I was recording and apparently I was not. So I went through this whole spiel and did not record a single thing on my mic. So that was fun. Anyways, we are going to be making some chicken, potatoes, and green beans. Y'all, this was really good. So we're just going to jump right on into it. Alright, to start out, we're just going to spray the crock pot with a little bit of oil. Whatever you have on hand will work just fine. I'm using olive oil. Once I get that sprayed, I'm just going to add in some chicken breast. I have 2 chicken breasts here, but you can do chicken thighs. And I'm also going to season that up with a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm going to make sure that I season that on both sides so the chicken is nice and flavorful. Now that I have that in there, I just washed and diced up some potatoes. Now I'm doubling the potatoes because I love potatoes, but you can do just a couple of potatoes will be fine. Once I get that in there, I'm just going to add in a green beans. I like to use the fine green beans, but you can use whatever brand or style of green beans that you like. Alright, now that you have your potatoes and your green beans in there and they're all spread out, good to go, you're going to squeeze in a half of a lemon. You're going to add in some garlic, a little bit of onion powder, and some paprika. Now, the recipe called for Italian seasoning. I did not have any, so I'm substituting that and kind of switching it up a little bit. And I'm adding in some ranch powder. Now, you can go with the directions and add in the Italian seasoning, but I'm going with a little bit of different flavor, so I'm going to add in a packet's worth of ranch seasoning just to the top of this, and then we'll mix it in. Alright, now that I have this all mixed together and it's good to go, we're going to pop the lid on this and we're going to set this to high. Now I'm going to cook this for about 2.5 to 3 hours, but you can cook this on low for about 5 to 6 hours depending on how much time you have during the day. I didn't have much time today, so we're cooking this on high for about 2 to 3 hours. Alright, you guys, this has been cooking for about 3 hours, and these potatoes are done, and the chicken is nice and tender, so we're going to go ahead and cut this off, and we will just plate this up. Alright, you guys, here is my plate. This was another delicious meal, super simple to put together. I didn't make anything else to go with this. This was a whole complete meal. The potatoes were so tender. The chicken was done perfectly. I think what I'm going to do next time is season the chicken with a little bit of that ranch powder as well as the green beans and potatoes. I think that's going to give it a little bit more flavor. But other than that, this was so good. Alright, you guys, today we're going to wrap up this week. We're going to make something super simple, but it's going to be so delicious. We're going to make cheesy hash browns and sausage. So we're going to start out with greasing our crock pot. You can do a crock pot liner if you want. I'm just going to grease it with some olive oil. Okay, and now we're just going to add everything to the crock pot. Super simple. So I've got a bag of Southern style hash browns. You can use any kind of brand you like, any kind of style you like. I'm going to add those right in there, along with some diced onion. Now I've got these diced, not too fine, but they're pretty fine, just so they cook down in the crock pot. And this is about half of a whole small onion. It wasn't really that big. So if you're using a larger onion, I would do half. And I've got some sausage here. Now with this sausage, I'm using Cat's Delicatessen. I don't know where it's from, but if I can find a link to it, I will leave it in the description box below so you can check that out. But they're so good. You can use any kind of smoked sausage brand, style, flavor you like. So I'm going to add this in here. I've got some sour cream here. This is about a half of a cup. And I'm just going to add all of this right in here, as well as some salt and pepper. And I've got some Cajun seasoning. This is Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning. This is really good. It's one of our favorite brands. But any Cajun seasoning you like will work just fine. So I'm going to add in a little bit of that, as well as some cream of mushroom soup. Now I'm using cream of mushroom with roasted garlic, but you can use just the plain or low sodium if that's what you have or like. So we're going to add the whole entire can in here. Alright, now we're just going to go in here and mix everything up until it's well combined. Oh, before I forget, we need to add 2 cups of cheddar cheese. So, a couple of good handfuls. Now let's stir this up. Okay, that's about as good as it's going to get right now. So, I'm just going to clear my spoon off here. And we're going to put the lid on, and I'm going to cook this on high for about 2 to 3 hours. Now, my crock pot cooks a bit hot, so just keep an eye on your crock pot. It should take anywhere between 2 to 4 hours on high, or 4 to 6 hours on low. So I'm going to go ahead and let it do its thing, and then we'll come back, add some cheese, and let that cheese melt, and then all this will be good to go.
All right, you guys, so this is what it looks like before we put the cheese on it. Now this cooked for about 3 hours, just over 3 hours, about 3 hours 10 minutes maybe. I am just going to come in here and add some cheese to this. We're going to put the lid back on this, let it cook for about 10 to 15 more minutes, and then this will be good to go. All right, y'all, so this is done. This cooked for 3 hours, and then I put the cheese on there and let it sit and cook for another 15 minutes, so about 3 hours 20 minutes in total. But you guys, this smelled so delicious. Serve this with some salad. I had some lettuce that I needed to use up, so I just threw a bunch of odds and ends in with the lettuce and called it a salad. Topped it with some ranch dressing because I love ranch dressing. But yeah, this is my plate. This was so delicious. I think I'm going to make this again for my husband. I think he's going to love it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comment section down below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.